It's Friday the 22nd of September 2017 and I'm at St Margaret's Station in Hertfordshire to do a walk along the Greenwich Meridian Trail, a long distance footpath that roughly follows the line of the Greenwich Meridian. Now crossing the River Lee navigation, and we've joined Greenwich Meridian Trail, which goes along the high street of Stanstead Abbotts. We turn left into Capel Lane. Now passing the Church of St Andrews in Stanstead Abbotts. Another view of the church. We turn right off the road along this path, which is waymarked for the Greenwich Meridian Trail and the Hertfordshire Way. And that's the path, quite narrow. The path has climbed and now opens up. There's the path ahead. As you can see, glorious weather today. Whether you can see, there's a group of walkers ahead, past me on the road near the church. We're still on Greenwich Meridian Trail here. Come to this cross path and the route continues ahead, along beside that hedge. Looking back, there's a reasonable view over part of the Lee Valley. And now the path has gone slightly to the left and there are these beautiful views opening up ahead, especially in this weather. And there's the wide track of Greenwich Meridian Trail. Lovely view of the continuing clear path ahead. Now on with a wood on the right and a view ahead. Further on there are these waymarks. As you can see, we're on Greenwich Meridian Trail. Also, this is part of Hertfordshire Way and also part of Harcomlow Way, and it's the first waymark I've ever seen of that long distance footpath. And the whole of that long distance footpath, Harcomlow Way, there are videos on my channel. And that's the path curving now round to the left. Splendid views over to the right as I'm continuing along the path. On three long distance footpaths here. The route now heads half left across this field. We're heading for a crossing of a main road. Now crossing the River Ash on a footbridge. We come to this road and go up that track opposite. View over ploughed fields to the right, and here's this wide track that we're now following. Wide views over to the left. And this is a very wide track. That's Greenwich Meridian Trail. The path bears to the right and narrows. The route turns left along the edge of that field. There's a ditch on the left. At the corner of the field by a footbridge, the route turns right to continue along the edge of the field. It doesn't go over the footbridge. Later, the path heads across this field. Now going across the first ploughed field of the day. Although this bit's not too bad as a track's been made. We now have to go across the proper ploughing to that gap. Turn left to get to that gap. The next field is completely ploughed out. I need to go over it to the road. I thought this walk was going too well. Well, I managed to go around the edge of that field to get out to the road and then along the road to rejoin the route. We now go along this bridleway and we're heading for Cold Christmas, the hamlet. At least this is a nice clear track. And there's the view over to the right. More good views. I'm suspicious of all these ploughed fields. Suddenly a path could go across one. This is probably not the best time of the year to do this walk. But there's the clear track at the moment that I'm on ahead. Still on Greenwich Meridian Trail. At this junction, Greenwich Meridian Trail continues ahead, but if you turn left here, you can get down into Ware. So I'm still going to continue following Greenwich Meridian Trail. Ahead to Cold Christmas. And there's confirmation that we're on Greenwich Meridian Trail. Superb views. And here's the path. It's now starting to descend to Cold Christmas. Now at the road at Cold Christmas where we turn left, and there is the village sign. Just over 200 yards along the road, Greenwich Meridian Trail turns right along this clear track. Now about to cross the River Rib on the footbridge beside this ford. The track climbs out of the valley of the River Rib and then goes beside that wood ahead. Now there is a fantastic view looking back over the valley of the River Rib, the way I've just come. It's quite hard to video, but through the wood on the left towards its end, or at its end almost, is a tumulus, an ancient burial mound. It's about 6 to 7 feet high. Next, Greenwich Meridian Trail turns right towards that wood. The track now turns left towards another wood. Light aircraft just took off from the field on the left. After the excitement of the aircraft, we continue along Greenwich Meridian Trail beside this wood. Fantastic views. There's the grassy path ahead. Just before that hedge ahead, we cross the actual Greenwich Meridian. And there's more great views over to the other side of the path from where that aircraft took off. I don't know how well it'll come out in the camera, but I'm standing roughly on the Meridian line and you can see right down into London to Canary Wharf. It's about in the middle of the frame. Subsequently, the path that is Greenwich Meridian Trail narrows and heads downhill. At the bottom, Greenwich Meridian Trail bears left along this track beside this hedge. Looking back along the path, it looks like the mysterious hills. Lovely view. Great weather. Now at Barrack Ford, and the walk crosses the River Rib here by the footbridge. After Barrack Ford we go a short distance along the road and then turn left up this track. Further along the path there are great views over the Rib Valley. And there is the track of Greenwich Meridian Trail ahead. At this point the main path bears right through a gate, but Greenwich Meridian Trail keeps ahead along that narrower path. The clear path continues through woodland. The path emerges from woods and runs between fields. The path ends at this small road where we turn right for Latchford, just over a quarter of a mile away. Now at Latchford on the River Rib. At Latchford we take this bridleway to Standon. It's the path going uphill. The path goes steeply uphill. Fantastic views at the top. And there's the path ahead, heading for Standon. The views looking ahead on the path. Still on Greenwich Meridian Trail. At this cross track, Greenwich Meridian Trail continues through the gate ahead. And there's a view of the path continuing. The path goes along the right hand edge of this field, which is full of cattle. The path ends at this track where there's another ford over the River Rib, but Greenwich Meridian Trail turns right along this, not across the ford. At this point the walk crosses the line of the old Buntingford Railway, long closed. Now passing the Standon Pudding Stone. And there's an information board about it. A view of the church at Standon. And now the bus stop near Standon and the end of today's walk along the Greenwich Meridian Trail.